Is the mic on? Episode 147. What's wrong with Orny Adams? That's what the notes say. Episode 147. I don't believe everything I read, but I believe that. I don't mean to be cynical, but I realized this this weekend when I was in Las Vegas eating breakfast, going over my notes from the show the night before. I'm in the middle of a midlife crisis. And mostly because I can't believe I'm only halfway through this shit. That's the crisis. I've got that much more to live. I've got that much more pain and suffering and exposure to this crappy world. You want to know what's wrong with Orny Adams? This world impacts me like, I wish I could live my own life over here. I really wish I could. I wish there was an Orny bubble and I was protected from the external world. I'm going to get into a lot of that in this episode. But, you know, how can you not be negative? Really? I mean, I'm getting older, but if I can get as much done as I did in the first half of my life, and I realize I'm more than over the first half of my life, but I like to think, I mean, the term is midlife crisis. How else can I say it? I mean, why does math have to get in the way of a great expression? Midlife crises. But I realize I'm getting older. A couple of things happened to me this weekend that disturbs me. Okay, I decided to accept getting older a couple of months ago. This was after conversations with many people, including Bill Burr, who sort of, I admired how comfortable he was with accepting being an older person. I never wanted to be. That's why I stayed young. And now that I've accepted being older, well, I'm starting to do old people shit. I cut my hamburger in half this weekend. I cut my hamburger in half. I couldn't even believe it. I didn't even think about it. There was no thought. All of a sudden I looked down, I'm like, my hamburger's in half. I've never cut my hamburger in half. That's what old people do. My thumb ended up in an iPhone picture. My finger, one of my fingers. Young people don't have fingers. Digits don't show up in pictures. I'm like, I gotta stop this. See, what happened was I was thinking young. I stayed young. Now I'm thinking older, and I'm falling into the trappings of being older. I'm gonna end up in the blood pressure chair in the back of the pharmacy before you know it. Anyway, I want to thank who sent this in. Somebody on X, Christine said. Christine on X said, I can't wait to hear your take on this. This has been going on for years. I didn't even realize it. I'm going to play part of this and I'm going to get into it. This guy was attacked by an otter in Singapore. I'm going to discuss it. Everything on this episode of What's Wrong with Orny Adams with older Orny Adams. Who's cutting their hamburgers in half? Not young people. Not young people. I realized a lot of things that I'm starting to see the difference between the way the older generation thinks and the younger generation thinks in many respects. Like a lot of the times... Oh, I got to get the whistle. I got to get the Costa Rica hummingbird whistle. I'm like a Bob Dylan over here with a... Answer, my friend. Ba 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 da 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 da. So much to discuss. I'm wearing the Celtics shirt for a reason. I've been watching this documentary on Max, which is produced by Bill Simmons. It's exceptional. And I realized a lot about my childhood. A lot of things form, like, there's a lot of your personality which comes from your childhood, which you don't even realize. So I'll give you an example. I was rereading Dostoevsky's Notes from the Underground, and my dad and I didn't realize, I say it all the time. I say twice 2 equals 4. My dad says 2 plus 2 equals 4. Like, in other words, as an example of sanity. I want to live in a world where 2 plus 2 equals 4. We don't live in that world right now. We live in a world where 2 plus 2 equals 6 to some people. It's gone cuckoo. And so I want to live in this. So I say this, and then my dad said it the other day, and I said, geez, that's weird. My dad and I both say the same thing. What does this come from? And then I realized Dostoevsky says twice 2 equals 4 in Notes from the Underground. And my dad gave me that book to read, so blah, 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 blah. So all these things from your childhood create who you are later on in life. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, I'm wearing a Celtics shirt right now. And as I'm watching this documentary, which I absolutely love, it's so well done. And it reminds me of my childhood. So I love the Celtics. I was there. I was 16 in 1986 when they won the championship with Bird, McHale, Parrish. And this was considered one of the greatest championships of all time. And it's so embedded in my psyche of who I am, including what happened after that year when their draft pick was Len Bias, who was a phenomenal, from what you could tell from his college years, basketball player out of Maryland. In fact, a kid in my fraternity had Len Bias's, I'll get into that second, T-shirt from his Maryland years. But Len Bias was drafted, and less than a week later was found dead from an overdose of cocaine. And I never did drugs. I've never done drugs. I never will do drugs. And I'm sure Len Bias dying from cocaine at that young age had an impact. Because I remember when he was drafted, I have a very specific memory of how excited Boston was that we had this guy. This guy was the future of the franchise. Bird was on his way out. McHale was on his way out. Parrish was on his way out. It was the end of the dynasty. They needed to rebuild the dynasty. And all of a sudden, this guy shows up. And I remember exactly being in my driveway shooting on a hoop. We had a hoop on my driveway. It was so ridiculous. It's probably 12 feet off the ground. The other thing is the driveway slopes down. So if you're, 15 feet away from the hoop, the hoop's now 15 feet off the ground. It's absurd. And then somehow there's a BC sticker on the backboard. I think friend of the family, Nancy, went to BC, my parents' age. She gave me the sticker, and I think I somehow put it on the backboard. My garage had this really cool, creepy attic that I'm still afraid to go up into. I'm still afraid of the creepy attic. And my garage is like covered in like moss and greens. And there are these windows on the side that are made out of this thick glass that must be like 8 inches thick. And when I was a kid, I used to huck rocks. Like, what was I thinking? Now that I own a home, what was I thinking? This is why I don't want to have kids. I would try and break the glass. I would crack it and I would throw, like, what the was I thinking? What a rotten kid I was. My grandfather used to joke, what a rotten kid. He was right. That creepy garage with the hoop. And I remember from the side doing wild shots going, Len Bias, like pretending I was Len Bias, like a kid would at 16. Maybe that's the way a 12-year-old acts, but I was acting like that at 16. And the excitement. And then all of a sudden he's dead. And the propaganda, which wasn't propaganda, was you can do coke once and die. And then, and that's what they said. Len Bias only did coke one time. That, of course, nobody knows. I guess some people know if they saw him doing it, but it was always like, that was the first time he did coke, and he died. This guy was going to be a Celtic. He was going to be on the greatest franchise of all time. And you can fight me on that, LA, Philly, Detroit, any team. Celtics. And so that formulated who I was and my thinking. So that's why, like, when I do this story about this whistle, this is a hummingbird whistle I got in Costa Rica. I bought it on the beach, and they would walk up to you on the beach. Several men, look like they're in their 20s. They'd go, and they go, whistle? They'd ask you if you want to whistle, because when you're on a beach, how often are you on a beach and you think, I could use a whistle right now. Oh, here's my opportunity to buy a whistle. So they look at you, go, whistle? No thanks. And then they say, cocaine? Cocaine? We went from whistle to cocaine? And people laugh. And then I talk about how I bought the whistle. But in that joke, I want people to know that I don't do drugs. So, I'm like, oh, I don't do drugs, but I'll take the whistle. And it seems artificial. It seems dorky inserting that. But, that's what's going on. That's what's going on. What I do love about this Celtics documentary, and this is not a sports podcast, but they give McHale his due. Kevin McHale, to me, this guy had 8-inch arms. I've never seen arms longer on a human being in my life, but he was an exceptional player, and they acknowledge how great. I don't hear his name mentioned enough. In fact, I might buy a McHale shirt. How about that, people? And when you hear these guys talk like Bird, McHale, even the players like Magic on other teams and Isaiah Thomas, they're pretty intelligent. People that are put through that level of stress on their mind and body and competition, I don't know. I can't imagine I would be that evolved, but maybe if I was put through that. So it's a great documentary. I recommend it. I recommend it for all ages, even people that aren't cutting their hamburgers in half, putting their thumbs in iPhone pictures. But here's an example of thinking, okay? Of old ways thinking. I realized this. I was in the car with Gary. He's one of the managers at the Kimmel's Comedy Club in Las Vegas. Thank you to everyone that came to see my shows in Vegas. In fact, I will be, this weekend, I will be at the Ice House in Pasadena. Show is almost sold out. I'm taping the show. There are people coming to see me to produce and direct my special coming up. So I'm excited to run that. I'm in a unique situation where I have a problem. And the problem is I have too much material. And I'm not bored of the old material, but I just want to get it out. I've got probably 2 hours of specials, maybe even more at this point, because I'm just writing. Like, okay, remember the last episode I talked about Hooters and how gay men have fond memories of Hooters, because Hooters is going out of business. Hooters is filing for Chapter 11 Double D. Okay. And I talked about it on stage, how gay men in the Midwest or Florida or in a lot of places were brought to Hooters by their parents that suspected they might be gay. They acted a little different. They didn't necessarily fit in. They were curious how they would react to a classically or a beautiful woman. So they bring them to Hooters, and the waitresses were empathetic. And on the last podcast, I joked, to me, here's the angle for me. If I knew I could have faked being gay to get my dad to take me to Hooters, I would have done that, right? And so I did it on the podcast. Now I'm doing it on stage, and I enjoy that. Do you know what I mean? Like, things happen to me, and I enjoy talking about them, even if it isn't a polished bit, but they seem to come out pretty polished to me. So I'll give you an example. I was talking about that this weekend. Now, here's something I'd like to talk about at the Ice House this weekend, but I've got to run through what could be the special, which means I've got to bring back, me saving a life on a plane, old bits like that, my smart refrigerator, probably the straws bits got to come back. So Gary and I are driving through Las Vegas, and if you haven't noticed, in recent times, people are driving a lot closer to the car in front of them. Now, why is this? Because if you leave anything more than 3.5 feet, a car will wedge itself in. And you're leaving distance because you want to be safe. You want to give yourself reaction time. In fact, I think you're supposed to leave like 10 feet for every mile per hour. So it'd be 60 feet for, if you're going 60 miles per hour. So I get really frustrated on the highway when I'm being safe and then a car just wedges itself in. Doesn't even wait for my permission. Just wedges itself in. Doesn't even signal. Just relies on me to break and allow them in. And Gary, this happened to us in Vegas, and Gary's like, let him in. Because what other choice do you have? I mean, I guess you could hit him and make a point. And Gary said, wow, not even a thank you? And I realized, you're lucky the guy didn't shoot us. You're lucky we didn't let the guy in, and then he just turned around and shot us. Like, nobody's thanking anybody nowadays. We live in a different world now. The courtesy thank you is out the window. You are expected to let this person in. Screw you. Their life is more important than yours. Them being in that space is more important than you not giving it up to them. I don't even know how to word it. And so, I'm talking about this on stage. You're lucky this guy didn't, just turn around and just start shooting, because how can he thank you? The guy is probably on his phone. He's driving and texting and wedging into a space. Doesn't have time to put the phone down and thank us. You know what I mean? Like, that's old school thinking. New school thinking is, that's just the way the world is. And it drives us nuts. It drives us absolutely crazy. And I understand it. Other things that happen in Vegas, curious what you would do in this situation. If you want, you can email me at what'swrong@ornyadams.com, or hit me up on social, Instagram @OrnyAdams, or X @OrnyAdams, or Facebook @OrnyAdams. There's now a million ways to get in contact with me, and I tend to read as much as I can and respond to as much as I can. Sometimes I don't understand what you guys are saying, to be honest. But what would you do in this situation? I was walking down the strip, and I see a watch on the ground. It turns out to be a Rolex watch. And the band, it's a metal band, and it's broken off in an area that, it shouldn't be. You can tell it was grabbed off. Like, the clasp wasn't undone, and it just fell off. This was grabbed, the clasp was still together, and then it was broken in the middle of the band. I don't know if it was a real Rolex, but I picked it up, and I thought, what do I do? Do I bring it into the casino? Is it mine? Do I keep it? What do I do? And I saw an officer about 100 yards back. There was a protest going on. I love protests because it makes me, the nonviolent protests I like. It makes me proud to be an American when I know we have this freedom of speech. I see this officer. I bring it up to him. I said, hey, I just found this on the ground. I don't know. Maybe somebody will come up to you. I mean, he'll probably end up pocketing it. This guy's not going to bring it down to the precinct and, put it in the box. But I was hoping maybe somebody would say, hey, officer, you're not going to believe it, but somebody, I can't find my watch. I think somebody stole it. Did you find anything? Taking a sip of some juice. Get my energy up. Hoping that he would be honest enough to say, yeah, here. So I feel like I did the right thing. But also in my head, I'm thinking, well, what if somebody's filming this for some sort of prank video? Like, we're going to expose people that keep the watch. I'm going to take the watch, put it in my pocket, and then they're going to follow me all day and go, hey, man, what were you going to do with that watch? And now, I'm Orny Adams, guy from Teen Wolf, stand-up comedian, famous Orny Adams, caught keeping a watch, caught doing the wrong thing. I tend to do the right thing. Yesterday on one of my walks, I found a nail. I could have walked right by it in the street, a few feet off the curb. What did I do? Bent over. Now at my age, at my cutting a hamburger in half age, that takes a little more effort, a little more thought. Hey, do I want to waste one of my bending over moments on this nail? But I did it. And I put that nail in a safe place because I thought that's the right thing to do. That's what you do in life. That's what the world needs. People doing the right thing. My mom threw out her back because she was in a parking lot, saw a cart in a handicapped space, stopped, got out of her car to move the cart. Now, somehow that caused her back to go out. But what a sweet woman. Doing the right... In this world, if everybody did the right thing, if that watch, whether it's real or not, I thought maybe it's not real. This is part of my calculation. Because if somebody stole it, right? First of all, if he grabbed it and ran off, he grabbed it and the guy knew, right, that his watch, like, he goes, oh, I felt it, and it dropped to the ground. The guy would then pick up his watch. So I figured the thief probably knew it was a fake. It probably was a fake. God, I hope it was a fake. If it was like a $10,000 watch and I gave it back to a cop, I'd be so rich right now. But maybe I'm rich in having done the right thing. You ever think about that? You ever think maybe doing the right thing? And it's not even for karma. It's internal karma. Karma! There's the Boston accent. But I'm so aware that we're being filmed all the time. I hate it. I can't stand it. Every public space we're being filmed, people are filming. Like we have become, the world has become one big reality show. That's all this is. We're just living in a reality show and we're all part of it. Whether you want to be or not, the minute you leave the house, your Ring camera gets you, your neighbor's Ring camera, these security cameras get you, people in cars. I hate driving in Ubers because they have security cameras sometimes facing me. Like, I didn't get into this car wanting to be filmed. Excuse me. I understand for your safety, I get that. I would probably have one if I was an Uber driver, but again, now Uber drivers have it. Now you go into any public space. Outside they have it. Homes have cameras. Public spaces have cameras, internal cameras. You are caught on camera. I don't know how many times a day you're caught on camera, but you can't, there's no privacy. Like, it's amazing. I saw a video the other day. How this was caught on tape, like, is amazing. A sinkhole just developed all of a sudden, and a car was halfway through it when it happened. Car gets out safe. Motorcycle guy just falls into the sinkhole on his motorcycle and was disappeared for 3 days before they found him dead. They found the body. Somehow that's on video. How is all this stuff on video? I mean, you scroll TikTok, you go, holy, wow, look at all this. Caught on video every single day. And it scares me because these cameras are so small. I travel with security cameras. If I don't feel safe, like when I was in Costa Rica, some of these places, you know, I stayed at, mom and pop, I had security cameras. I've hidden cameras in my hotel room. I also now have carbon monoxide poisoning. And if things get out of hand, I have a whistle that I bought on the beach. They should just walk up and down the beach just selling Amazon stuff. You know. You guys have any SD drives that I can buy? Any solid states besides the whistles? You know, I tell that story. The guy had never sold had never just sold the whistle before. Anyway, it's a story I do on stage. So I'm about to rent an Airbnb. I'm so close. I'm doing shows this summer in Portland, Maine in August. By the way, this weekend, Ice House in Pasadena. I will be doing the Megaphone show. I'll talk about that in a second. Also, next weekend, I will be at the Austin, the comedy festival there in Austin, Moon Tower Comedy Festival. I'll be doing the podcast there, and I'll be doing several shows. So please come out and support me. But I'm about to rent this Airbnb in Portland, Maine, ornyadams.com/tour. ornyadams.com/tour. I'm about to book this Airbnb, and then I thought, what about security cameras? What if they're hiding cameras? Like, there's a lot of them hiding them in smoke detectors, outlets, clocks. Like, I've only stayed at a few Airbnbs, but I've always felt creepy, like I'm being watched. And I'm going to get into that. I've got a story from CNN about that. And I'm going to talk about, I'm going to circle back to a bunch of stuff, but let me just show you this clip. This is the Otter clip. Or should I do the megaphone bit quickly? Let me see if that's available. This is a clip that we just posted on social media. Me partnering with the Laugh Factory. So it's a little bit hard to hear, but you know what I do is at the end of the show, or sometimes I do a full megaphone show, I hand out megaphones to the audience. I have people walking around. If you have a question, you can ask a question. If you want to go back and forth, you can go back and forth. You can ask other audience members questions too. This is This is from the Laugh Factory a couple of Fridays ago. They didn't know it was coming. I handed out megaphones. There was a bunch of dentists in the audience, and there was a guy. I said, "You're going to be the representative for all dentists." And the guy was so shy. But the minute he got the megaphone, he opened up and he actually gets the laugh. That's what I love about the megaphone show. The audience is on the same level as me. The audience gets megaphones. You have the same voice level, the same volume. I'm equaling out the playing fields. And if the audience member gets the big laugh, I allow that. I don't have to get the big laughs. So here it is. I'm talking to the guy about flossing. And I hope you can understand it. If not, it's on my Instagram and Facebook and
There's
X.
More than one dentist here tonight? What is this, a convention of dentists? You're a dentist and you're a dentist? He's a dentist too? Where's the megaphone? Give this guy the megaphone. I want to talk to this guy right here. You're going to be the spokesman for the dentist. Where are you from that you're looking at? Have you never seen a megaphone before?
I have.
Okay.
Look at me laughing. That's pure, genuine
What kind
laughter.
of dentist are you?
I'm a general dentist.
Okay, let me ask you a question here. This flossing bullshit. What do you got? You got this flossing every day. You gotta floss. You gotta floss. Are you guys in bed with big floss? Like what? My dentist, are you floss? I go, I love to floss. I love to pull that rope out and wrap it around my finger into a gangrene section. I do it 10 times a day. All my fingers didn't fall off. I love it. I love it. I love to go like this and.
Clean between your teeth.
He said clean between your teeth. You need to clean between your teeth.
Can I use a Q-tip? I mean,
If there's a big space, yes.
okay.
He said if there's a big space, yes. And you see me laughing. That is genuine laughter. That is rare. I have not seen me genuinely laughing like that. And I love it. I absolutely love it. Now, I bought 2 megaphones online. One of them arrived damaged. I had to return it. Usually they let me just bring it to Whole Foods without a box or anything. This time I had to go to UPS, and I thought it said no box, no shipping label, but it just said no shipping label. So I show up, and the guy is UPS. Said, you got to have the box. I said, well, it's in a box. Can't you just put the sticker on the box and stamp it? No, you got to have the box. We'll sell you a box for $12. Meanwhile, they probably have a stack of boxes from stuff coming in the back that they're going to, put in the blue bin, the recycle bin. But he's selling me. Sell. So I said, I'm stubborn. For $12. Sorry. I'll go home. I'll get the box because it's in my blue bin ready to be recycled. And I'll come back another day. How about that? Well, I go down the street to buy some food at a market, and in the parking lot, I noticed a bunch of boxes. What do you think Orny Adams did? I grabbed a box that fit perfectly, put my megaphone inside of it, went back to the UPS store, which was a few hundred yards away, and I said, there you go. Save myself $12. That is also a great example of recycling. Direct recycling. There are all these boxes in this world right now. Like, where are these boxes coming from? When I was a kid, I went to Camp Telnoa. There was a kid there named Zimbo. That was his nickname. His family they're very wealthy. His family made all their money because they made boxes. And at the time, I thought, who makes money off of boxes? How did you get involved with boxes? Boy, is that boring. Well, if they're still in business, can you imagine how much money they're making? There are just boxes that come into my life every single day. I mean, we're out of control with the boxes in America. I don't know about other countries, but there should be there should be like a place that you could just drop the boxes off folded and people can come and grab new ones. When you used to move, you used to just go to like a liquor store and grab a bunch of boxes from them. But now, I mean, if you get shipments like me, there's a lot of boxes. But this guy wanted to sell me a box for $12. That's what's wrong with the world. Find a box in the back from somebody that already picked up a package and said, oh, can you take this box? Or they probably get stuff shipped to them. There are boxes there at the UPS store. But the guy wanted my $12. I thought, oh, that's why they're accepting these. That's why they're part of this return policy for this online whatever, because they can make money. They can make money. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on in the world right now which disturbs me, mostly in the ocean. Okay? I discussed the crocodiles. I tried to talk about it on stage that I respect crocodiles more than sharks, because crocodiles, when they bite us, they finish the job. They eat us. Sharks spit us out. I don't know why sharks don't like the way we taste. I didn't know we tasted so bad. You know, I've seen documentaries and they find trash in shark stomachs. So trash tastes better than us? You telling me the dolphins you eat taste better than us? Like, what don't they like about us? That's what pisses me off. It pisses me off that we die in a shark attack and we're not even eaten. At least eat us so that death was worthwhile. Anyway, I'm going to talk about a girl that got stung by the most dangerous, most poisonous creature in the ocean. But also, you know how I feel about these otters. Okay? These otters, which present themselves as very cute, floating on their back, smiling, waving at you. Look, I'm an otter. Okay, that's what they do. And then they're gangs. There are gangs of otters in the Philippines. Well, let me play this one. This is what somebody sent me, this clip of gangs of otters. Okay, so I'll try and describe this. We got a family of otters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think it's called the Bichon family in Singapore. And they're going full speed, squawking away with like most annoying sound. Notice there's no otter whistle, because the otter doesn't make a pretty sound like the hummingbird. So they're going full speed. They get into a big war. Oh, I got to turn that down. It sounds like feedback. Look at these guys. They're all hopping, swimming full speed down the river. And there's the other family. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Looks like 9 of them. Now we're full on battling it out. These are called otter gang wars. They're happening in the Philippines. Oh boy, does that sound just annoying. Wow. I'll pull that video down. Now look at this. Okay? This, oh, they're fighting on the land now. Shouldn't have stopped the video. Anyway, you get the point. So now there's a overpopulation problem going on in Singapore. And part of the reason is there's no predators in this new area that they live in. Where are the notes? I took notes on this. This is what, while you guys are living your life, I'm taking notes on otter wars in Singapore. Pathetic. Singapore's otter population, which has seen a significant increase, has led to territorial disputes and gang wars among otter families as they compete for resources and territory in the city's waterway. The Bichon otter family and the Marina otter family have been known to be involved in several clashes. Now listen to this. With the Bichon family reportedly relocating to the Marina Bay after chasing out the Marina family in 2015. I think the Marina family was started by one of the daughters of the Bichon family. I tell you, life is rough. Family conflict. So the Marina Bay in Singapore has smooth-coated otters. In the inner city where they are, there are clean waters, no predators, and there is, because of this, human-otter conflict. So like this guy that was attacked by an otter was out walking, minding his own business, and got attacked by a gang of otters. Now, you guys think I'm nuts. You thought I was kidding when I was in Sedona, and I saw the beginnings of what is going to be a problem, the otters and otter gangs. And he said, Orny, you're overreacting. Now there are otter wars. They've been going on for several years in Singapore. The otter population is out of control, that they're actually relocating otters. And people want them to just get rid of the otters. So listen to skip forward, because the otters are going on to land and they're eating out. And then they go and they track the route that the otters probably took. So now there's a discussion about, let's see, I'm just, anyway, so Singapore, this is the CNA Inside or whatever that is. It's a big deal over there in Singapore. Big deal, whatever broadcast that is. So now, I'm just listing all the reasons I won't go into the water. Sharks, crocodiles. I got attacked by the puffer fish. Remember that? A puffer fish chased me onto shore. Wasn't good enough that I retreated, got out of the puffer fish's territory, chased me up on shore, and tried to take me out in Costa Rica. Luckily, I'm agile enough that I dodged it. And then people came over, and we actually tried to put the pufferfish, tried to do the right thing, return the pufferfish to the water. That's how good of a person I am. You got to stay out of waterways. Listen to this story. Don't listen to this story. Where's the beginning of the story? Oh, is it an article I printed? Oh, yeah, here it is. Sorry, everybody. Got a lot of notes. This is from the UK Mirror. Now, is that to me, that feels like a tabloid, but I don't know. Stomach-churning moment. Influencer films herself being stung by world's most venomous animal. Travel blogger Julie from Ireland had been visiting the Philippines when she squatted in the crystal clear waters and accidentally sat on a huge transparent box jellyfish. Now, the box jellyfish, in case you're wondering, is considered the most venomous marine animal. The box jellyfish is difficult to see in the water because it's translucent. Most jellyfish simply float, but the box jellyfish can swim. Unlike other jellyfish, box jellyfish have eyes and they can see, so they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing, jellyfish, box jellyfish. Looking right in the camera, box jellyfish. You know what you're doing. You got eyes. You could swim away. You don't float like the other ones and just bumping into something and stinging them. You know what you're doing. Largest box jellyfish measuring up to 1 foot in diameter with tentacles that can reach as long as 10 feet. Swimmers in areas where box jellyfish are prevalent often use protective nets or suits to prevent stings, and it is advisable to avoid these waters. Oh, I'd say so. I'd say so. The box jellyfish are the deadliest jellyfish because of their relative anatomical sophistication. They have 24 eyes. Why do they need that many eyes? How do they wear reading glasses? 24 eyes. I would have said 24 eyes because I just had to do math. I just had to take a dozen and say to myself in my head, that's 12, and 2 of 12 is 24. I hate to sound like Dostoevsky. Twice 12 is 24. And although they don't have a brain, they got 24 eyes and no brain. Who designed this species? They have a complex nervous system which gives them the ability to swim fast and propel themselves through the water. So they can just come for you. They got eyes, and they got a long reach. They got like Kevin McHale reach. They got like big old, like Kevin McHale had jellyfish arms. You know what I mean? That Celtics player, the 8-foot arms, he was like, they should call him the jellyfish. Well, they should have called him. Now, I had a run-in with a school of jellyfish. I don't know if they come in schools, but I was in Cancun, and there was a sign that said, warning jellyfish, and I thought, that doesn't apply to me, I'm famous. And I got into the water, and the next thing you know, my entire back was, it was so fast and so uncomfortable. It's hard to describe the feeling, but they had to call a medic who had to come over. Everyone was joking, oh, piss on him, which is a myth. You should never piss on anybody, even if they're attacked by jellyfish. I'm here to stop the movement of people pissing on people as an excuse because they think they got bit by a jellyfish. There's some sort of, it's like a kink. Bellyfish. Why do we keep saying belly because of box? Yeah, why don't they call them the bellyfish instead of box jellyfish? So I got attacked. They called a medic. They spray you with vinegar. This vinegar is magical. You can use it to clean, and you can use it instead of being pissed on. According to the Mayo Clinic, a person with a severe reaction to a jellyfish sting may need, now I got to find cardiovascular resuscitation, life support, or anti-venom medication if it's from a box jellyfish. So that's the background on the jellyfish. Here's what happened to this poor girl. Who's very attractive, by the way, although it mentions she has a boyfriend in the article. But, I'm hoping he wasn't very supportive during the jellyfish bite attack, and she got rid of him. Because, guys can be, unsupportive in that way. We don't know the right thing to do. We don't know when to come over and start rubbing her hair or whatever. Julie was rushed to the nearest hospital. This is, we're back to Julie, the blogger from Ireland. The hospital was 3 hours away for treatment from the painful sting. She told her followers on TikTok, when it happened, I got up and I was screaming in a weird state of mind. By the way, this was filmed. She's running and screaming. I wasn't even crying because of the shock. I knew from the feeling this was a jellyfish, but I was hoping it wasn't. I was very hot, squatted down, and I didn't feel anything. This is when she was in the water. But when I stood up, I felt the burning of my thighs and on my butt. And when the venom spread, it was so weird. I could feel it. Everything was just vibrating. It was like it felt like it was. I don't know what that means. Is that like it is what it is? Where the sting was on my thighs and on my butt, it felt like an iron pressed against me. It was so sore that lasted for a day. Some of these leave scars. And these 24-eyed jellyfish, the Australian box jellyfish with their 24 eyes, and I think they got 10 tentacles. Each one of the tentacles can have venom in it. So if they want, they can just go all around you and just sting you everywhere. There was a doctor on the trip and on the boat that day with Julie. And what are the odds of that? They were from Australia and they knew about the jellyfish because the box jellyfish is actually called the Australian box jellyfish. And they helped me get through it because I was in so much pain. They monitored for an hour because what happens is you can die within an hour from the box jellyfish. Now imagine this. You're in the water, okay? You're in Costa Rica. And you got crocodiles and sharks and pufferfish. Nobody ever mentions the pufferfish. And then you got this. You got this, the box jellyfish. All coming for you. Just because you want to enjoy the water and get a few pictures for Instagram. But can you ever relax in the water? This is why at some point in life people go, I'm just getting a pool. Just getting a pool. I'm going to get a pool where it's clear and there's nothing in it. Although some people have an irrational fear that there's a shark in the pool. Well, I tell these people, look in the pool first, because you can see from end to end. You can tell whether there's a shark or not. So she lived, didn't have a heart attack, but they say there's between 60 and 100 attacks by these fish every year, and or deaths, and probably even more. They're probably not reported. There's a lot of shame apparently in being bitten by a box jellyfish. Yeah, I don't know, maybe I was attacked by a box jellyfish. Cancun. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know. I did the Singapore otter population. Should we talk about hidden cameras? Should we talk about... boy, we're getting through a lot today. Just cooking today. I'm on fire, clear-minded and everything. Let's talk about hidden cameras in Airbnbs. I'd like to hear from you. What's wrong at OrnyAdams.com. Have you ever stayed in an Airbnb and suspected there was a camera filming you? Because it can get bad. First of all, I'm an adult. I don't want to be filmed. But how do you know that this is not like a pedophile filming children? This is a disgusting world we live in now, that we have to deal with this shit all the time. I really wish we go back to before cameras. It used to be fun. Could pull pranks on people, and it wasn't on video. And people were more honest. Like, now I'm thinking of getting a camera for my car, because if you get into an accident, no matter what, the person's going to say, no, it's your fault. Then nobody takes accountability anymore. So you have to have technology to keep people honest. Before technology, people were just honest. This is a major problem. This is what has happened to this world, and the young people don't understand it. They don't get the cars shouldn't be wedging themselves in when you're giving a little space between you and the car in front of you for safety reasons. And they should be, they should drive along for a couple of seconds and put their signal on and go, hey, do you mind if I go in? They don't give a shit. They don't thank you because it's all about me, 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 me. Sorry to be so cynical, everybody, but I mean, negative, but am I right? I think so. Listen to this. This is a report from CNN. I hope it doesn't get flagged.
It was just like, holy crap. This is a camera.
But it didn't look like a camera.
I have one of these.
It was a phone charger.
Yep.
Chloe LeBrumet's fiancé had grabbed it from the bedroom wall of their Airbnb, thinking it was hers.
The Airbnb host had called us on the phone and told us that we had taken a charger that did not belong to us and that we needed to return it immediately.
At what point did you think this isn't really a charger?
He became increasingly paranoid. When am I getting this charger back? I think it was like a light bulb moment that we all just went, oh my goodness, is this a hidden camera?
Across North America, police have seized thousands of images from hidden cameras at Airbnb
Look
rentals,
at these pictures.
including people's most intimate moments.
Yeah, that guy thinks he's
What
masturbating.
happened
That was a
when
picture of a guy
you
masturbating.
realized that there was a camera in that charger?
It's so eerie and so creepy. Then your brain starts thinking, what did they see? What happened while we were in that room?
Wow, what a feeling.
In a small town in Maine, a couple found a hidden camera at
Didn't
their
I just
Airbnb
say I'm going to stay in Portland, Maine? This is probably the Airbnb I was going to rent.
Airbnb. Listen to what the host told police.
They had sex,
This is
and
the
you
detective.
recorded that.
I took some screenshots.
The host admits he set up a camera hidden in this clock
Jail
next
for
to
life.
the bed
Jail
to
for
record
life.
unsuspecting guests.
He's using a clock to tape people.
There's stuff of
He had a camera hidden in a clock. He's admitting it, that he has a video of couples having sex. Jail for life.
a couple of couples playing around or getting changed. So,
Okay, so there's pictures of people that are in intimate situations.
yes.
It's more than just a few reported cases, and Airbnb knows it's a problem. In this deposition reviewed by CNN, an Airbnb rep said 35,000 customer support tickets about security cameras or recording devices had been documented over a
35,000
decade.
tickets!
Airbnb
35,000 reports of cameras and Airbnbs.
He told CNN a single complaint can involve multiple tickets.
Oh,
And a
bullshit.
CNN investigation found Airbnb not only fails to protect its guests,
I should say, that, by the way, this investigation is from a year ago. So the number's higher now.
it works to keep complaints out of the courts and away from the public.
There you go.
Why don't we know about this?
I'll tell you why.
They are trying to keep it secretive. And if everyone knew what was happening, they would not be using their website.
Exactly.
Airbnb wants to wash their hands clean when they have a host who does something illegal or suspicious. They want to say, we are simply a website. We are not responsible for this host. We are not responsible for this property.
Florida attorneys Belkis Plata and Shannon Schott say trying to sue Airbnb if something goes wrong is extremely difficult.
And by the way, how clean are these Airbnbs? I don't think they're very clean. I'd rather stay in a hotel. Chances of a camera in a hotel, lot smaller.
It begins when you sign up on Airbnb's website and click Agree to its terms of service. You're agreeing to assume all risk.
Unbelievable.
The person going to rent the property agrees that if something happens while they're staying at this accommodation, they're actually prohibited from suing Airbnb.
They got to stop the terms. Wait till you hear about the terms I'm going to talk about at the end. This con artist. I'll talk about it at the end. I want to give it away.
They must go a different route, which is a binding arbitration. It's a way to strong-arm someone.
Yeah.
Is this about controlling publicity?
100%.
Absolutely.
Once they've settled a claim, Airbnb has required guests to sign confidentiality agreements, which
Such
CNN
bullshit.
obtained, that keep some details of legal cases private.
The government's got
For
to
you
get
to get
involved
the
in
check,
this.
you must sign the piece of paper so that no one will know. This will be swept under the rug.
We need legislation.
That's exactly what happened to this man.
Oh, this is scary.
How did you feel signing that confidentiality agreement?
Dirty.
Dirty.
This man asked us not to show his face, and we've masked his voice. He and his wife were recorded during a romantic getaway.
They had intimate footage of my wife and I. The sexual union between two people is sacred. It felt like an extreme violation of our marriage. It's devastating.
I would find the guy. This guy has more self-control than me.
In this case and others, CNN found that Airbnb does not contact law enforcement once hidden cameras are discovered, even if children are involved. Recording someone without their consent is illegal in every state.
Yes.
If people are out sharing their stories,
people are out sharing your stories,
how they were victimized through the services of Airbnb.
This guy's very well spoken.
Nobody's going to want to trust them.
This man only found out he and his wife were recorded because police called him months later after another guest found the camera.
It's disgusting. The world it's just every day is a disappointment. And I've had it. Like, they need to prosecute these people to the full extent of the law and all these things. Like, I still don't understand how self-driving cars are allowed. I don't understand how it's called self-driving car and you do nothing, but self-checkout, you do everything. Like, what does the word self mean? But legislation, they need to protect us. Our government, and this needs to be an international law, has to come after these people. Like, why is all of a sudden they're just self-driving cars? I don't remember any form of government or any oversight at all to see if this was even safe. Just people put them out there. They're like those, it started with the scooters, the bird scooter people that go, we're just going to put scooters out in the middle street. And then we'll deal with any problems. And Uber, we'll, you can just start driving people. There's, we make the laws until the laws come after us. And we'll have so much money, we'll just fight them. We live in a world now where it's act bad and then deal with the consequences later. Everybody thinks they can get away with everything now. And I'll be honest with you, they are getting away with it. They are. So I'm afraid to stay at Airbnbs. Are you? Emails, what'swrong@ornyadams.com. Let me know your thoughts. Has anybody caught a camera? Can anybody give me a first-hand story, please, for me to share on the What's Wrong with Orny Adams podcast? I'd love to. Now, I've been thinking a lot about the tariffs. And I'm not political, but I'm furious. I'm furious because to me, they make no sense. I said it before on this podcast. I say it on stage. Doesn't make any sense. We have tariffs to bring manufacturing back to America, to create more jobs in a country where nobody wants to work. The only people that want to work, we're deporting. Has anybody thought this through? So the tariffs drive me nuts. And it's killing the market, and it's killing everybody's nest eggs, and it's killing everybody's moods. People aren't buying. I can tell you this, ticket sales have gone down. After the show in Vegas, people didn't buy my t-shirts and hats and pillowcases like they normally do because people aren't hunkering down like, are we going to have money for the future mode? People are going to stop traveling. And because of the tariffs, we've isolated ourselves from the rest of the world. So now people don't want to deal with us with business. People don't want to come here on vacation. And I'm not even being political. I'm being commonsensical. And it's a lot different. And you can disagree with me about this. And that's fine. And you can tell me, wait a year and everything's going to be great. But I don't think so. I think there's a way to do tariffs in a rational way. Have a discussion. You don't have to negotiate by bullying everybody. And get it so trade is more fair. I'm not opposed to that. I don't want to be taken advantage of. But at the same time, I want to be able to get shit cheap. Love that $5 section in Target. Love that I can go online and order stuff so cheap. Whether it's luggage tags for 99 cents I got or the chemicals for my hot tub, it's cheap. The megaphones. I can't imagine how much a megaphone's going to be if these tariffs go through. So I hope they resolve themselves. But I got some letters from some fans that got me thinking. And then I got another letter. Well, first of all, here's like a generic email. This is from Brian. And you can send your emails to what'swrong@ornyadams.com. Dear Orny, I'm a big fan of your comedy and your podcast. Your playful spirit and levity bring light and joy into a world gone dark. Sure has. Dude, I'm in a midlife crisis because I'm thinking of all the years I have left. Listening to your podcast over the last year has helped me through a number of shadowy days, for which I am very grateful. Additionally, your fair and unbiased social musings, although maybe I just broke that rule with the tariffs, and critiques are awesome. I can't believe, although I still think I'm balanced, I can't believe how you've mentioned Robert Putnam's book, Bowling Alone. It's a great book for people that want a book with pie charts. No, it's a great book. The thesis is amazing. First came across, discuss it in one of the last few podcasts. You can go back and listen. I first came across a book in grad school back in 2006. And when I brought it up from time to time with people over the years, I felt alone, which is funny. It's ironic that he would say that. The book about being alone made him feel alone. There, I said it for you better. Seriously, I didn't think that anyone else ever knew of that book until now. And as one Gen Xer to another, I feel like you're one person who really gets it in a time where, along with the themes reflected in and predicted in Bowling Alone, it seems, among other things, harder and harder to get a tangible foothold on anything for more than a few seconds before it evaporates. Sorry, that was a huge, impossible run-on sentence, LOL. Anyway, hope it made sense. Well, I'll tell you, it didn't make sense. I got the gist. But, Brian, you know, I'm a guy that is genuinely sanguine about the future and America. And for those that, sanguine's one of those words. It doesn't sound like what it is. You know, I'm saying I'm optimistic. I'm bullish. I love America. I'm rooting for America. I'm sanguine. Sanguine sounds like you're down, like you're dour. Oh, how was your day? Oh, God, I had a rough day. I'm just a little sanguine. Gonna have some sangria. That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, dude, I'm trying. I'm more aligned with more people than most people, if that makes any sense. I see good in everybody. I see bad in everybody. I don't think we're so, in America, we have a two-party system. We're all humans. We're all very similar. It's not like one party's human and the other party is otters. I mean, the issues, but we just want to be divided. And we got to cut that shit out. We got to come together for the sake of our sanity and for the sake of humanity. The whole world, not just America. Stop being divided. Come to an Orny Adams show. Go to ornyadams.com/tour. You'll see how similar we are. I poke funs at poke funs. Forget it. I making fun of Brian and his shit grammar, his huge run-on sentence, and I say I make funs. Okay, so here's what got me thinking. This is our final story, everybody. Oh, no, it isn't. Here's an email I got. I forgot to mention this. Woman sent me an email, and it reminded me. I tell a story on stage about how I run into my old teacher, my 5th grade teacher, and she was battling dementia, which I didn't realize. And I'd said her name, and it didn't resonate, and her husband was like, that used to be your maiden name. I think I told this story on the podcast. And she said, what's your name? I said, Orny Adams. And she's like, I remember you. Always in trouble. I go, hold on a second. A minute ago, you couldn't remember your maiden name, but you remember my bad behavior. My bad behavior beat Alzheimer's. I'm the cure. My bad behavior is the cure for Alzheimer's. So I thought that was interesting that she remembered me. I'd made such an impact. And we know my philosophy. Don't be boring. Even if it's at the cost. You know what I mean? Like, I don't go out and try and get in trouble, but I know there's a possibility of it because that's what you do when you do comedy. And my whole life I've gotten in trouble, but people laughed. And I try not to hurt people's feelings, but I got another message on Facebook. I won't say the person's name, but she said, my husband is in the VA home in Nebraska. He has been there for 6 years. He has Parkinson's and dementia. I wanted you to know he doesn't remember a lot, but he always talks about your comedy show we watched together. You made a huge impression on both of us. It was one of the last times we belly laughed together. Hope you are doing well and feel blessed. Well, I don't feel blessed. But if we're going to talk about religion and being blessed, this has now happened twice. And I believe I should be up for a saint. At what point am I made a saint? This is now 2 miracles. 2! I want to be made a saint. Saint me. Is that what you say when you want to be up for being a saint? Saint me? Saint me. Here's an email. These 2 emails get me into the final topic. This is from Nathan. I've watched More Than Loud. This is my last comedy special, which will soon to be not my last comedy special because I'm going to shoot 2 pretty close to each other. I've watched More Than Loud multiple times. Yeah, it's at 7 million views. You and I are roughly the same age. I've been handling my parents' estate stuff amidst monitoring my own life where everyone's software seems to be going to crap. That's a good way to put it. I have to constantly call and get fees reversed, and the only part that makes me laugh is thinking of you thundering around on stage every day as a fight, every day as a struggle. Seriously, you have to be vigilant. You sure do. Or just resign yourself to being taken advantage of. Then, of course, I think of your water bill bit from time to time. It's great. It's just sitting in the lake for thousands of years. These guys put it in a bottle. You got 3 months to finish it. You can see the bits online. So real, so great. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you, Nathan. Now, he is handling his parents' estate. Here's another one. This is from Jenny. She's from Norway. She sends emails all the time. She said, I've been doing a little spring cleaning, and it always amazes me how much unnecessary crap we hold on to over the years. Well, that's what we do, humans, because stuff is cheap now. Like today, I opened a random closet and immediately found 3 shirts, and I don't think I've ever actually worn them. 5 pairs of pants that are most likely 20 years old, and at the bottom of the closet, I found a box full of old, used wrapping paper, that's good recycling, from several Christmases past. Why have I kept this stuff? I have no idea. Now, this was the first closet I opened. Well, how many closets do you have? I'm sure by the end of the clean out, I can probably start my own thrift shop. Maybe I'm just a mini hoarder and I didn't realize it. Now, this brings up an interesting point. Thank you for the email, Jennifer. Jenny. Good that you're cleaning that stuff out. Give it to Goodwill if you have Goodwill over there. Give it to people that need it. But we do hold on to a lot of stuff. Makes me feel good. I could have given away this t-shirt at some point. But why would I? I love it. Today, I want to wear my Celtics shirt. You know what I mean? This is what I wanted. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Some 71% of Americans in a recent storable survey. I didn't even know we had storable surveys. Boy, they'll survey anything. Said they repurchase items. Oh, where's the actual article? Okay, so it's about clutter, and I just clipped just different quotes from the article, and this is the first one that I guess I clipped. So 71% of Americans say, because we're over-consuming. That's the premise of the article, is that Americans are over-consuming. I would put me on the list. In fact, I didn't realize how bad I was till I read this article. So sometimes what's wrong with Orny Adams is actually what's wrong with me, Orny Adams. That's the case here. 71% of Americans in a recent storable survey said they repurchase items they already own because clutter keeps them from finding the original. This happens to me all the time. Like if I can't find my sewing kit, I'll just go online and order another sewing kit until I happen to find that other sewing kit by accident. And then I'll say, you know what? I should remember where to keep the sewing kits. We're going to keep them in this part of this closet. I'm like, Jenny, I got closets. That's what happens. We have a lot of clutter. You can't find stuff, so you rebuy stuff you already own. The biggest costs aren't always measured in dollars. Families fractured over how to divide up stuff or whether to throw it away. This is like this guy handling his family's estate. More adult children will have to empty their parents' homes as the baby boomer generation ages. Couples postpone moving in together. I've done this, overwhelmed by the prospect of combining belongings. Yeah, if I date a woman, I'm like, that couch isn't coming into my house. I don't want this shit. I'd have to clear out half my closet to make room. You better be worth that. Let's see. This is another quote from the article. You see something cool for $6 and you think, why not, said Anthony Russo, who often finds packages arriving at his St. Louis home that he can't recall ordering. This has happened to me. Sometimes there's an Amazon pack. I'm like, what did I? Oh, that's right. C batteries for my megaphone. Like, that's bad. That's bad. Clutter isn't just limited to the U.S. In Toronto, Kyle Moore and her husband quarrel over an oversized massage chair he won't part with. They are currently looking to buy a house, and Moore anticipates conflicts. More conflicts about what they will bring with them to the new home. She says he still has t-shirts from when he was 17 years old. He's now 42. Oh, give the guy a break. Maybe that's why you shouldn't get a place together. She's ripping him apart. This poor guy just wants his How much space does his t-shirt from when he was 17? Could be like this one of the Celtics that I'm wearing. It's a fond memory. But the buildup of stuff is a uniquely American phenomenon. Roughly, ready for this? 80% of the world's self-storage facilities are located in the USA. Okay? The self-storage industry is one of the biggest beneficiaries of America's inability to let go. Chuck Gordon, founder of Storables, said on average, people rent their units for 14 months, though many units remain rented for years. Of course, you forget what's in there. You ever see Storage Wars? People just forget. They pay the bill. It's on auto pay. They think someday I'm going to want that vase from my grandmother. Once it goes into storage, it never comes out of storage. That's what I suspect. In fact, I'm going to clean out my whole house after this. That happens at homes too. Victoria Levia, a professor of organizing in Houston. Boy, you can become a professor of organizing. Boy, you can just really, whatever your interest is, you can just become a professor or a doctor or surveyist of it. So interesting. So she sees families treating entire rooms like junk closets. About 21% of people dedicated over 500 square feet purely to storage. I've done that. I have a guest bedroom that it's the closets become like a COVID storage area. I mean, I have overflow of clothes. Shit. Everything about this article is me. Even though 500 square feet is roughly the size of a two-car garage, even though those who don't meet clinical criteria for hoarding often struggle with subclinical clutter. Oh no, do I have subclinical clutter disorder? Caroline Rodriguez, a clinical psychiatrist at Stanford, that's the real deal, Stanford University, who specializes in hoarding disorder, said, I can't think of a single person who doesn't at least a bit attached to items they never use. I can't think of a single person who isn't at least a bit attached to items they never use. Of course, we all do. It gives us comfort and a security to know it's there even if we don't use it. Do I need to explain this to you, Dr. Rodriguez, Professor Rodriguez? Ann Livingston realized the extent of her unused stuff last year when she started preparing to move out of her 3-bedroom Washington, D.C. home. She thought was organized, labeling bins. Oh, I know these people that label bins. They think they're better than us. In her hall closet and keeping them tidy. But then, with the help of a friend, she started emptying out the bins and that had been untouched for years. She said, I had millions of suitcases. The friend told her that she had a shoe problem. Well, why don't you mind your own business, friend? You can never have enough shoes. Got a shoe problem? I'll tell you, if I had a friend that told me I had a shoe, if I had a friend that came over and I was like, hey, could you help me out a little? And then, like, you got a shoe problem. I'd be like, you better step back. Oh, and she said, I didn't realize I had a sunglass thing too. Me too. I have an entire drawer of sunglasses. And I keep buying them because it makes me feel good. I'm also filmed, okay? I bought some outfits in Vegas this weekend. Why do I do that? Because I'm on stage a lot. And although it looks like I'm wearing the same outfit every time, it's a variation of it slightly. Anyway, so these people, Jenny in Norway, and I think it was Brian cleaning out his stuff, we probably all need a cleanse. And because we've had it so good with items so cheap, we have too much shit. I'm starting to hoard right now because I'm afraid of the tariffs. I bought clothes last weekend thinking this is the last pre-tariff clothing. I bought some essential oils today. I'm just stocking up. I bought more megaphones for when these break because I'm like, they're going to go up. They're going to go up. So I'm back to this sort of COVID hoarding thing. Holy cow. Then this isn't what we're supposed to be concentrating on. We're not supposed to be thinking about this stuff. This is what's wrong with the current world. We're talking about world problems every single day. We don't live our lives. I want my life back. I want a life where I don't think about this stuff, where I don't have to read the news in a panic or on Sunday night be so afraid that the market's going to open up, and is it going to be down like it was on Thursday and Friday? Is it going to be down Monday? Like, am I going to watch my wealth just washing away into an ocean full of puffer fish and otters and crocodiles? And are there otters in the ocean? And sharks and box jellyfish. I want a world where I can concentrate on the important things, the things that really matter, like how the hell is there a Fyre festival too? How are people trusting this Billy guy? I can't believe people bought tickets to the Fyre festival too, which was supposed to be in Mexico in this one area, and they said no, it isn't happening. So he said no, I'm moving it to Playa del Carmen. And then Playa del Carmen said, it's not happening here. People are buying tickets between $1,400 and $1 million. People have bought tickets. There's not even a guest booked. How are people falling for this guy's con again? Guy went to jail for 2 years or 3 years or several years because he conned everybody out of their money on the first Fyre festival. Did I call it the Fyre festival? Did I call it the Fyre festival? Damn it. I think I called it the Fyre Festival. What's wrong with me? That would have been a great clip. As part of the sentencing, McFarland agreed to pay $26 million in restitution to the victims. And then they're interviewing this guy. He's so full of shit. Fyre Festival? So disappointed. This was like at minimum an A- podcast, and then I just ruined it. I absolutely just ruined it. I want my life back. And I was reminded of how great life can be when I was in Las Vegas and I was eating lunch with Gary. And we were at one of the restaurants at the Jimmy Kimmel Comedy Company people that own too, Pompeii. They own this cool jazz bar, and we're having lunch there. And the jazz band, the band, two-person band was warming up, and they kept warming up and doing sound checks with Brown Eyed Girl, the Van Morrison song. And it kept going on, and I'm like, oh my God, this is going on for 45 minutes before they opened. And when they opened, people came in, got a couple of people, and they said, well, let's start the show. And I said, hey, I have a request. They go, yeah. I said, I don't know if you play this song, but Brown Eyed Girl by Van Morrison. And so they started to play it. And then every time new people came in, when they ended the song, I would say, hey, I don't know if you guys know this song. I haven't heard it in a while. I can't, what is it called? It's Van Morrison, Brown Eyed Girl. And then they'd say, I mean, we could try. We haven't played it for a while. And it became the running joke. And it was so funny because the band was in on it. We were in on it. Everybody that was there was in on it when the new people came in. And it was really fun. And it reminded me that's the way the world should be. And I wish it was more. Episode, what is it? 146, 147, 147. Fyre Festival. What an idiot. I'm hoping I said fire. Thank you to everybody that listens. Thank you to everybody that is, giving this podcast love, that rates it, that shares it, shares my comedy, that comes sees my shows. The email's what'swrong@ornyadams.com. Great emails this episode. Thank you to those guys. Yeah, I'm off to North Carolina tomorrow to do a private show in the Asheville area. And then Ice House this weekend. I'm coming up to Chicago. I'll be at the Den Theater. I'll be in Austin at the Moon Tower Comedy Festival. A lot of dates coming up. Flappers in Burbank, ornyadams.com/tour. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you for episode 148. And remember, don't buy tickets to the Fry Festival, and don't buy tickets to the Fyre Festival either.